You are right, and so are they. Now, you've probably experienced many situations in your life where you were involved in that scenario, where were involved in something like that. It probably began when you were much younger, when you wanted to do something and your parents said, no, you can't do that. And then you said, no, I know I'm supposed to do it. I'm right. And they say, nope, you're not supposed to. And so then you go through this battle with your family because you know that you're meant to do something, but they're saying no. And then it could be something later, because this is what happened for me. My parents would tell me, we want you to do this. Now, I didn't hear that. I would hear something else. And then they would come back later and says, we said this. And I would say, no, that's not what I heard. I heard something quite different. And so now who are you going to believe? And that's the struggle that we go through is that are we going to believe ourselves or are we going to believe some outside source that is telling us something that we don't understand? We're not going to go there. This is what we do throughout our lives. But what I'm speaking about today is this is what we do in our world as well. And we come into the world to live these great lives, every single person. But that happens when we can start to know that we were right, meaning that who we are, the authentic person we were meant to become, and how we were meant to change things in our lives and our world. And that's something within us we're supposed to do. But we can't believe that we are right because that is a continual process of evolving, or what we can think of as ascension. That's what I call it as well, because it's coming to a higher state of understanding in consciousness of who you are and who you can become, because we're all created equally. We're unlimited beings. But what happens is we start to believe something else. And that can go on for the longest time in our lives and also in our world. And so we are in a period now where that's really happening. And I'm going to talk about it because I have to really understand that I was right as well. Because I doubted myself my entire life. I thought, no, this can't be me. This couldn't be what I'm supposed to do. That doesn't seem right. You've done that. You felt it, or you thought that that big dream you had, that's made up. You couldn't possibly be that person. And then everyone will come along and tell you you can't. And so now you start believing them instead of yourself. And so we always hear about how important intuition is, that we all have it, but we don't always trust that and we don't always go with it because, again, we've been programmed to believe something different. And so then when you're presented something that is way outside of what you can believe, you can't accept that either. I did that as well. I did that with my life because I thought, how could I have done what I've done in my life? I can't believe that. I would have never imagined when I was younger that I would be this person now. I couldn't possibly be this person. And then you start to discover that there's an alignment that happens in the universe and you're aligned. You come into the world with a plan, with a divine plan, with something you're supposed to live, and it is intricately woven into the fabric of the universe. Now, we can say that and think about it and probably don't come to believe it all the time because, again, that's a process of evolving and reaching higher understanding. But then when we discover that, we have to give it back to others. Otherwise, we don't evolve individually and our world doesn't as well. We're not supposed to be the same as we were 100 years ago. We're supposed to be much better. But when we don't honor who we are and believe that we have this right to exist, that we have something we were supposed to bring to the world, nothing changes. And so I'm changing that today. So I was looking at this, thinking about this today, and then I looked at a message that I received on August the 28th of 2020. See, because in 2020, I knew that the world was changing. I kind of knew before that, but not enough of us were really paying attention to that because we were focused on something different. We were focused on the pandemic, if you remember that. But I knew that something else was happening, that the world was changing, and the way that we can make it better, the change much better, is when we start to understand and cause ourselves to become right, meaning that we start to become our authentic selves. because we're all connected to source, to God, to all that is, every single soul. But we come into the world in different forms, in different bodies, different races, different, all kinds of things. And then it becomes challenging to understand who we are, to believe that we're right. And then if we don't do that, then we don't live the lives we're supposed to have. We don't put the kind of energy into the world that could cause it to evolve. That's where we are. Let me share with you a message that I received on August 28th of 2020 that will make much more sense now because it's happening on this day. I'm saying this because we can develop abilities and talents and skills that might surprise us. Mine surprised me because I had downloaded a complete philosophy that could change anyone's life and ultimately could change our world. But believing that that has happened was challenging for me, and it's probably challenging for you to understand the potential that you have if you keep going, if you keep unlocking what's within you. That is what I know everyone has, and that's also the work that I was given. And it has proven those results because people are understanding and starting to evolve. Someone in the my group this morning said they were so surprised. They said, I've done so much work before on myself, but this is different. This I'm understanding things in a new way, and I thought that I should have known this. Yeah, so many people have said that, and I say it too, because that's what happens for me. We're evolving in our consciousness all the time. That's what goes on. We're never done with that until we start to think that there's no more for us to do or we can't achieve something. And that is absolutely never true. And my life has proven that. So that's what I'm giving back to others because I healed. I did all sorts of other things and I got rid of all my biases. And that's what I had to do. And it was a struggle. And this message from 2020 tells you that I was still moving through it as you might be now. And this is the message, and you will get so much out of it. And it's this: you are right, and so are they. Yesterday, we told you more of the restructuring of your world would be revealed, and Roger wondered how that would occur. And he even posed the question to his friend. Then last night, he saw it right in front of him, and surprisingly, it was within his family. The family was having one of their pretty regular Zoom meetings, and at some point, the conversation turned to politics. Of course, we speak of the United States. For as we mentioned, you are leading the way. Each member had an opinion that they felt very strongly about and, at times, could not hear the other's views. In the beginning, Roger was pretty quiet, but then he began to speak up. He said he was making his decisions based on how they will define his life and ultimately his life purpose. You each are doing that. Even if you think you are not involved in politics, that is not true, or you would not be here. All of your life experiences occur to provide you with a context to choose who you want to be. That creative sentence refers to the restructuring we mentioned, and none of it is right or wrong, and none of your individual opinions are right or wrong. Still, they are necessary because it is what you chose in this lifetime. You are moving through previously held limitations. We will provide you with Rogers, and possibly it would inspire you to find yours. Roger has long known that finding his autonomy was challenging. Through a source other than us, he was told that he feared his benevolent nature. While that may seem to be a bit ridiculous, it was purposeful in his life. You each are here in this lifetime to evolve more. We are using phraseology you will understand. We are giving Roger a statement that is somewhat shocking even for him. Roger feared that if he unleashed his benevolent nature, he might harm others as it would avail him to innate power. Of course, the opposite was true, and his restructuring is happening, and making his choices about politics helped him own more of himself. You are doing the same, and it will be easier for you when you know everyone is doing the same thing. Remember, we told you yesterday how it turns out. And the message yesterday that I actually just put up in a different video today, which was fascinating. It said how it turns out is that we evolve, that we start to accept ourselves, that we start to love ourselves, that we start to come to another higher understanding within ourselves and then in our world. That's the collective unfolding, which is why I always keep talking about planetary ascension because this is going on everywhere, not just in one place or one country, but it's going on across the world. And then you understand it's all energy. And when we understand what we've come to learn is that if we are to take that energy in ourselves and move through those blockages, those limitations, that generational bias, those all those things that are lower vibrational, we can say, that just have this dense energy of hate and judgment and all of those things. If we can move through those, then we heal and then we ascend. And that's exactly what I've done, which is why I talk about the healing, the mind body healing that this work has caused me to experience. Now, what I'm doing is giving it to everyone. And that's what my work is. So, just so that you understand, you are meant to live a great life. The only reason you might not be doing that now is because of the changes in the world and you not having a way to discover and own who you are. Because who you are is this wonderful, loving person. And if you can get to that, everything in your life heals. And then you contribute to the global transformation that we're all moving through. And the best part of that is that you become happy. And that's the work that we have. So thanks for being here. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't been here before. Share this with others because the more that we get others to understand what is occurring and that they can become wonderful and love themselves, and that would aid to the healing of the planet, we have a great world. See you soon.